Live free and be happy, baby.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the Live Free Be Happy podcast. I am your host, Freeman Shimron Mike Shine. This is Free Talk with Freeman, and today we have S Dub. What's up, my brother? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Had a great day today, free man. Had a great day
That's what's
today,
up,
my
man.
brother. Yeah,
Yeah. Every day above the ground is a great day. You're making it,
yeah,
We all gonna have them
definitely,
ups and downs, but about that bounce back. Yeah.
definitely.
Today we getting into the Lfbh Black Future honoree. The first one we giving our flowers to. The flowers to his Master P. You know, from New Orleans, No Limit Records. You know,
Colonel of the tank.
Colonel of the Tank. Master P, born in New Orleans. He went to
Yeah,
college in Houston and went to
yeah,
play basketball.
yeah, yeah. I think he had actually. I think originally he got a scholarship for Kentucky, and then he turned it down because he didn't want to go so far from his family. But he had family in Houston, and so he ended up just going to Houston and walking on to the team and trying out that way. And he made the team, but he got hurt. He messed his knee up.
Oh,
So he chose to like go to Houston because he had family in Houston. And he said that he was just gonna walk on and try to make the team as a walk on. And he a lot of this is documented in the BET Journeys documentary. Have anybody ever seen that one? He talks about that in like the beginning of that documentary. How he ended up going to the University of Houston to play basketball.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So, because Houston is much closer to New Orleans. So.
Yeah. He say he hurt his knee. I think in practice or something. He messed his knee up in practice. Like not even in the game. Like he was practicing going so hard and tore his knee up.
What
Like
you
back
got?
then, the medical staff ain't how it is today. With all the technology and everything. So for him to rehab whatever injury it was, his ACL or MCL, whatever it was, it took longer to recover back then. Because of medical and how we advance now. If you mess up your MCL or ACL, you can be back in like a year. You know what I mean? Or less than a year. But now, but back then, he had to like really rehab and be out for a minute. So, you know, I guess basketball kind of faded to the side.
Yeah. That's a serious injury too. Like especially back then. Like you say, medical wasn't technology wasn't like it is today. So yeah. Yeah. I saw. He said he had met. I don't know if he met Jay Prince or he saw Jay Prince in like a club when he was going to Houston.
And he saw him in the club and like who is this? Who is this black man pull up in a Rolls Royce wearing his fur coat? You know, uh, don't seem to be like a drug dealer or anything. Like, who is this dude? Successful black man. He said that's what drawed him to him, and he started asking questions like, "Man, what you do? Like, how what do you do?" He said, "Man, I'm a music producer." He's like, "You a rapper?" Like, no, I'm the owner of the company.
He moving to Richmond, California, Richmond, California, and I think he had family up there as well.
Yeah, so this kind of like this is where I really start to understand Pete more when it comes to like outside of the music stuff, but just him as a person. Because I'm from Oakland, and so when I was younger, see, I'm from Oakland, and my dad. I was raised by my dad. My dad was from Louisiana, and so I got cousins who really didn't. I'm not gonna say they knew Pete, but they knew of Pete because they was from New Orleans.
Hmm.
My uncle lived in New Orleans actually, but anyway, when Pete moved to Richmond, people who lived in my apartment buildings, they knew like P, King George, and they used to see like King George and P together, like in West Oakland and up in the going to the studio out there, sitting in the cars, chilling. And then I knew some people who bumped into P while he was living in the Bay Area. Yeah,
Wow, small world, man.
yeah,
And I heard, the Bay Area in certain parts was like just as bad as anywhere else in America. Certain places.
right,
'Cause I know he
exactly.
was moving around to try to get away and better his own life. Because having. I think Romeo was born then, so he was trying to do whatever he could to better his life and get out the hood.
Right.
You go
So
from one hood to the next.
exactly. So Richmond's small. So this is what people like. P always talk about how small New Orleans is compared to like Chicago and New York, but Richmond's even smaller, right? So everybody kind of knows like San Francisco, Oakland, but really, when I say if somebody say they from Richmond, they gonna think you're talking about Richmond, Virginia, right?
Right.
But Richmond, California it's a whole nother beast. Richmond only got three sides, right? Richmond is not that it's not that big of a city, and I believe Pete stayed in South Richmond off Cutting Street, and I had an uncle who lived in Richmond, so I'm familiar with going to Richmond. One of my best homies, even to this day, he from Richmond, and I got a cousin who uh, who just invited me to a birthday party today that I didn't make it to, but the party's in Richmond, and I'm like, man, do I want to make that ride to Richmond for real? For real? I was like, I ain't gonna be able to make the party, cuz. But Richmond, California is grimy. It's it's dirty. It's wild. It's some great people come from Richmond, right? We all know about the Coach Carters. We seen the movies, you know what I mean? Like we know the Master P's who got their hustle game started in Richmond. And then out here, a lot of the Bay Area rappers and stuff like from the legends to the new people, you gotta go through Richmond in order to win over the crowd. You know what I mean? To get your notoriety. And so people done been shot in Richmond from rappers to all kind of crazy stuff. But I used to have a sister who used to live in Richmond too, in North Richmond. And once you cross them tracks, man, it's daily, it's survival, man. And so I guess for P, when he moved from New Orleans, he thinking, oh, I'm going to California. You know, you just think about palm trees and stuff. But then
Mhm.
when you got to Richmond, it's like this just as bad as New Orleans Project. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got
Right,
babies
right,
outside with dirty diapers. You got people, gunshots. People still back then. People still selling dope on the corner. You know what I mean? And so Richmond was not. It's definitely not Beverly Hills. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I know you can have a perception like of California probably from the TV and the movies and stuff.
Yeah,
You get there, you think it's one thing, get there like, oh man,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Wow.
he had a record, No Limit Record. It started off as a record store.
Yeah,
Um, that's funny, man. Because No
yeah,
Limit Records, that sounds like a record store, but to take that name and make it into like a household name, and yeah,
yeah. So I think the story is how it started. Okay, this is from what I was told when I was younger by OG who passed away of mine, who uh who knew P from when P came to Cali. He knew of P and he didn't know P, but he knew of P, right? Back in like the early
uh-huh.
'90s. He was like the story that he told me back in like the early 2000s was the store No Limit Records was not. He got the store because Sonya's parents had owned that store, and P
Okay,
got the store actually from like her dad or something. So No Limit Records, the No Limit Records is P's, but the store that he bought when he talked about he bought the store in Richmond,
uh-huh.
allegedly that was Sonya's parents' store that he bought it from. So it wasn't like some random stranger he bought it from. That was his
Right,
in-laws he bought it from, and he just turned it into a hip hop store. Everything else in the stories, that we hear from P in interviews, from what I've been told, is legit. After that he turned it into a hip hop store. He lived in it. Him, Romeo, and Sonya. They lived in there, um, and it was in the hood, and yeah. But I think part of the story that really don't get talked about, and Sonya C did an interview with somebody, and she says that in her interview too, like No Limit Records, the record store was like her parents' store. So her parents were already in California, and I think P's mom was in California too, which one reason why he came out here because his mom and dad had broke up a while back, and so
okay,
he just didn't come out here just to be like, oh, I'm in California. Like he had people here, but it wasn't like his core people from New Orleans that was out here.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I was seeing. I think that was on the BET. The documentary they was showing how. I don't know if it was C Murder. Or, they was just showing like that. I think it was in Oakland. He was trying to get some of the artists not to go certain places and stuff like that was real
Oh,
hood.
yeah,
Yeah, and they
yeah,
was saying, yeah,
yeah. Because you so it's a trip because Richmond not too far from Oakland, right? So and then one of the artists who was with P in the beginning, Big Ed's from Richmond, and so he's trying to from the story. I think it's like P trying to tell people like don't don't be in these clubs talking about South Richmond or we from Richmond when y'all doing a show in Oakland. Because out here in the Bay, LA they got Bloods and Crips, right? In New Orleans they got third wall, fourth wall. You got different wards, but in the Bay Area, it's just like we claim blocks. So 700 block, 800 block, or parts of the city. So like North Richmond, South Richmond, whatever, whatever. We don't got like colors and wards and stuff, right? So I think P was like they was they were doing the show in Oakland, right, or in Oakland or somewhere, or maybe they was doing a show in Richmond or wherever. But you can't be like you can't do a show in Oakland and be like Richmond in the house. Da, 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 da. It's just not gonna fly, right? So it's vice versa. You can't be from Oakland and then go to Richmond and then be like East Oakland, North Oakland, West Oakland. You could the first thing you have to do is show love to where you at. You know what I mean? Like is Richmond in the building? Woo! Richmond in the house. You know what I mean? Okay, well, I know I'm from San Jose or whatever. Oh, San Jose. Okay, you can't just come out thinking that because where you from, that you just gonna get love and not show love to where you at. You feel me? So P had some artists who was
yeah,
he had Lil Rick. Lil Rick is from Richmond. Big Ed was from Richmond. I don't EA Ski's from EA Ski was from Oakland or San Francisco. I think he's from Oakland. EA Ski from Oakland. And so he had some people that was like from other parts of the Bay that he dealt with. But you P's always kind of been a master at trying not to get in beef, right? He doesn't want to beef. He really doesn't want to beef. So he's very he manages his people like yo, I need y'all to stay here. If we gonna do business here in Oakland, I need y'all to just focus here in Oakland. If we gonna do business in Richmond, let's just focus here in Richmond. You know what I mean? Don't be going back and forth. Like even when he had Snoop Dogg later on, he told Snoop when he was in Baton Rouge, don't go back to L.A. Stay here. When he had Soulja Slim in Baton Rouge, he told Soulja Slim, don't go back to New Orleans. Stay here in Baton Rouge. Because Pete understands that when you go back to some BS, that you can get in trouble. And he tries to prevent the
yeah,
trouble from happening. Whether he was in the Bay Area doing it or in New Orleans doing it, or even now to what he's doing in Southern California. Like he understands that from a management standpoint of business.
right, right. Yeah, man, because like we got the examples that show that if you go backwards, that spotlight is on you. You shining bright as a star, and and you got people who looking to take advantage of you, all type
Right.
of stuff. So yeah, so it's good that his it seems like his children take his all your children not gonna listen the same, but it seems like as a parent, he got his children headed in the right direction. I
Definitely
know
agree with
they getting
that.
older too. Yeah. Um, I know the West. I didn't. Well, I actually heard West Coast Bad Boys one, but the second one is the one that I really like. I actually
Okay.
bought it out the store and I know he was collaborating with a lot of Bay Area artists.
Yeah. So West Coast Bad Boy. So let me go back. Let me just put a little asterisk next to this, right? West Coast Bad Boys 1 is not really part 1. It's part 2.
Okay.
The first West Coast Bad Boys album is actually Getting High for Christmas. Came out like 1994. That's actually the first West Coast Bad Boys album. But then he came out with the second one technically, but it's I think it's West Coast Bad Boys. Another Level. I think it's called Another Level Volume 1. That's
Uh-huh.
what the title was. Another Level Volume 1. And so, uh, not too many people rocked with that album, but that was the first because the West Coast Bad Boys High for Christmas, that was really just local Bay Area people. So I know a dude who was on that album who was a singer named Simply Dre. Simply Dre later on became a gospel singer who he's on my gospel album that I did like in 2009. And I got Simply Dre number in my phone right now. Cause Simply Dre lives out here where I'm at. So he was on a couple Master P albums. He's on the first West Coast Bad Boys album and he's on 99 Ways to Die. But anyway, um, the West Coast Bad Boys Another Level Volume 1. Nobody really rocked with, but um, a lot of local Bay Area people is on that album. Like a legend, I believe it's part 1. Mac Dre, who's big out here in the Bay Area, I believe he's
Uh-huh.
I believe he's on the first West Coast Bad Boys. I mean, he's on the Another Level of the Game part 1. I believe he's on that one. I don't think he's on part 2, but I think he's on that one. I could be wrong, but I believe he's on the first one. Um, the first one really didn't get that much attention, right? But they made enough money. It was weird because in the Bay, artists really didn't collab like that with each other. So P's mindset was, I want to get somebody from Richmond, somebody from Oakland, somebody from San Jose, somebody from Vallejo, all on one album, and put it out there to kind of combine the Bay Area, right? To make one big album. It didn't blow up, but he was ahead of his time. So when they made a little money from it, right? He took that money and whatever else he had, and they did part 2, which was the dedicated to Tupac after Mac Miller
Uh-huh.
died. After Tupac died,
Yeah.
and that's the one that you're talking about, right? Part 2. The
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah. So
I actually heard that JT the bigger figure.
yeah,
That's my guy right there. I love what he's doing, like just his whole
go
mentality and like on the independent game and everything. But he was saying how when he got with Master P, he's like I guess he helped Master P along his process in Richmond. I
yeah,
mean, even though he was younger, but he
yeah.
was saying because he was like really like one of the first ones doing compilations out in the Bay Area. Yeah,
JT
and
was
I actually heard P acknowledge it before too. Yeah, JT was. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, he always. That's one thing he always says. Like he was there with Master P to help him along his process in the Bay Area too.
yeah.
They used to
Because
bounce ideas off each other and stuff.
yeah, JT the bigger figure. I know he's over in Africa now, but he basically was a legend in the Bay, um, and he don't get to shine like the E40s in the Too Shorts. But if you ever needed a beat or a cold verse, people will go to JT. You know what I mean? And P acknowledges JT the bigger figure a lot throughout the early part of his music as well, right? I believe the Ice Cream Man
Uh-huh.
album and Ghetto Dope. I believe he talks about JT a little bit on Ghetto Dope. But JT the bigger figure, man, he definitely was there with P, and P always wanted to know how to be better. So him going to talk to a JT the bigger figure and collab with him, it's not surprising at all. It's like, you know, if P seen you was doing well, he wouldn't try to jack you. He wouldn't try to like take what you got. He want to learn from you. Like, yo, how can I get this? This is how he end up getting the deal. I mean, this is how he end up like really learning the hustle game about the music from E40's uncle, St. Charles. When
Uh-huh.
how E40 and them started like out the trunk of the car, him and E40 and what's Uncle name? I can't remember his name right now. Who E40 always his cousin. Who he rapping with?
Be
Be legit.
legit.
Yeah, be legit.
Yeah.
Like but P wasn't never like trying to like take nobody's style. He wasn't never trying to take money from nobody. He was like, I want to learn from these dudes. Like, how are y'all getting this independent money? He's like, I got the record store. I see y'all coming in here. Y'all giving me the tapes on consignment. And so y'all paying me, and then I just got to get the tapes out when the customers come ask for them. And he's like, but y'all in here like every week, every month. He's like, how can I get some of this money? You know? And so for him to be able to actually learn from JT the Bigger Figure, St. Charles, E40, all them guys is like he changed the game, man. Like because he took it, his vision was so big, he took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the Bay Area, right? He did the West Coast Bad Boys. Then he did the West Coast Bad Boys Part 2. Um, and it just was crazy. His whole mentality was different. He understood the game not as a rapper. He understood the game as someone who owned a record store and as a businessman who went to school.
Uh-huh.
So his knowledge was on a different level than no disrespect, but then a Tupac. You know what I'm saying? Like Tupac was just an
Right.
artist. No disrespect. We love Pac, but Pac was just an artist. You know what I'm saying? And he was a trailblazer for the community as well. But as far as business,
Uh-huh.
P on a different level.
Right. That's why Pete, never he never wanted to be the best rapper in the world. Pop wanted to be the best rapper, And it's a
Right,
difference in being, like you said, businessman, and because I'm pretty sure Pop could have been a businessman and took it to another level. Like, because I don't think most people don't have as much money as they should or they've earned. When it's all over with. You know,
right.
so
That's what P built. That's the foundation of No Limit Records, is what you just said. Like P was looking at it like, these artists they sell 1,000,000 records, but they only get $10,000. He's like, where's all the money going? Well, the owners of the record label, they're getting 90%. So why would you be the artist and you do all the work? You write all the songs for the majority of people, right? You got to perform in the shows, you know. You doing the
uh
radio interviews with people. You going city to city, but you only getting 15%. You're like, how can I get more than that? You feel me? And so what he say on the Ice Cream Man intro? He say, you think you can rap? It's not about rap. It's about how you organize your business and get your shit together. The rap game like the dope game.
uh
You know what I'm saying? The white man own
yeah.
you. He said, ain't nobody running me. I love that intro.
Hey, and that's one of my favorite songs or whatever. I used to listen to that every day, and I got so much power and strength just from that. AMP say independent, black owned, and I never worked for the white man and this and that. Like that stuff was powerful for me to hear at that age when I was like in high school. Like, man, it was like hearing a Malcolm X speech or something to me. Like, and I used to love listening to him talk on this song because he used to always have some knowledge and game he was giving, you know,
Right.
which
I
a
think
lot of
that's what
people don't do.
exactly. I think that's what separates No Limit, the record label, from like Cash Money. Like
Yeah,
No Limit was more than just bling and shine, right? No Limit is more like a lifestyle. You feel me? Because he taught so much on the business side of things. He got people to think about life a young black man to think a different way. You know,
yeah,
like yeah, we gonna play these records. You know what I mean? It's gonna be some controversial things in these records, but at the beginning, you're gonna get some knowledge. In the middle, it's some nuggets in every song and every album in the middle. In the end, you're gonna either be crying because it's gonna be some type of
mhm,
R&B closing, or it's gonna be some knowledge dropping at the end of each album. And so it's just
yeah,
like man, he took you there on each album. Like it was some funny stuff. If you do some skits, you remember like a Rev Do Wrong and a True album and all that. Like you're gonna
mhm,
laugh. You gonna have some R.I.P. songs in there, some Dear Mama songs, some I Miss My Homie songs. So you're gonna cry. You
yeah,
feel me? You gonna party. You gonna get to make them say You gonna tear the club up. You gonna body. You gonna do all that. And then you feel me? He gonna give you the knowledge. Like yo, why make 15% when you can make 85%? You feel me?
yeah,
So P, salute to the Colonel, man.
yeah. Because when he went to after he left the Bay Area and went back to New Orleans, I know the down south hustlers was I think that was made while he was in the Bay Area still, because
Okay.
I can remember when it came out, but I remember at that time he was still like in the midst of like going back home, because he tells stories about how he went back down south, and that's when he recruited certain people for the album, like the
Yeah.
Soldier Slims and certain people when he went back home and met. And I think he went back. He might have been in L.A. at this point. This was around the priority time when he um, was close to getting a deal, or maybe he had got it already. But I know he took that West Coast Bad Boy, the compilation thing, and took it back home, and
Yeah.
man,
Did the
and when
down
you
south.
helping a lot of people with like a compilation, that's where he really like crept in the door on New Orleans, like on Cash Money, I should say, because Cash Money had been like building they reputation and they music and everything, they street credentials, all that while P was gone. So
Right. Right.
Cash Money really had New Orleans on lock. Like, and me, my family being from Louisiana, and living down there. Like when I was in Chicago, you'd think, oh yeah, No Limit got it just like Cash Money, but it's really like everybody else. No Limit had it on lock. But in
Yeah.
the city of New Orleans, Cash Money, like because they had already established themselves. But by people doing the compilations, and you helping so many people out, probably in times of need where they needed the money, it's like, oh, we gotta love this dude, even if we don't like him. Like he came and and that's the smart. That's like playing chess.
Right.
I'm gonna
Because
come
I
down
know.
here and it's Cash Money, and like they had Cash Money Records, Big Boy Records. They had all these. They had record labels that were like, because Mystical and I think Fiend, certain people on certain record labels, and they were actually beefing with each other back then, like the Big Boys and the Cash Monies.
Right.
And No
Right.
Limit crept in while they was beefing, and because they were only really messing with each other. Like
Right.
if you on Cash Money, or they were on Big Boy, like they weren't collaborating really with each other.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so that's crazy because, like you say, man, he crept in there and then basically said, "Yo, I want you to work. I got this vision for down south. This album, Down South Hustlers. I want to get you from this record label, not on No Limit, but just to be on this record that I want to do for the South." He made it bigger than him, right?
yeah,
He's like, it's not about No Limit, it's about the South, right? When he did the West Coast Bad Boys, it wasn't about No Limit, it was about the West Coast. You feel me? And then with Down South Hustlers, man, I think Mia X, she gets credit for telling P, like, we got to go back down south to get the producers. Because I think she did a couple albums with she did Good Girl Gone Bad. That was like straight West Coast Bay Area sound. And then
uh-huh,
he did a couple albums, and Silk did his album. And then, well, by the time Silk did his album, they had already went back and got Moby Dick. I think Moby Dick was actually in Chicago though, but they had that same. He had that South sound though, and so they went back. So
uh-huh,
Mia basically is the person who told P, "Yo, let's go back down south." She said, I like K. Lou in the production out here in the West Coast, but we need that bounce. So they would end up going back down south, and they got some flavor going with that. They talked to some people. They got KL on board. KL is the one who brought everybody else in basically because he was working with them. Like you said, it was already down there in the South doing music on the other labels. And KL knew all of them because he was the producer. He was a drum major, right? So he was already down
uh-huh,
there. So once P got KL, Beats by the Pound, they say, "Oh, I know Mystical, I know Fiend, I know Servon." P knows some of these people. He played basketball with Servon at school and stuff. But as far as rapping and bringing it all together, like they was really loyal to KLC. It wasn't really loyal to P. And when you think about
uh-huh.
how No Limit ended, it wasn't really because of it was really more they was loyal to KLC and Beats by the Pound, the artists, right? But anyway, I'm kind of jumping ahead. Down South Hustlers, the vision, it wasn't about No Limit. It was about the South, right? Telling people that the South can rap, the South is fun, the South is not to be played with, and we actually got talent down here. We not riding on camels, we not
Uh-huh.
eating hogs, we we hustlers too. You know, we may not do it how New York do it. We may not do it how LA do it, but we still hustlers down here too. And the world had to respect that.
Yeah. And in '98, they say he dropped 23 albums that year, and that's like when you get the well, go back a little bit to the deal, the 85-15 deal, like because I don't think he took too much money. He might have took some money for marketing or something, but he didn't take too much money. You know how people want these big advances and stuff like that. So he didn't really take that much money from them, like up front.
Right, right,
And so when you get an 85-15% deal, they're thinking like, oh yeah, we're gonna make so much money off of him, even with just getting the 15%. If we don't have to put much in him, it's a win-win for us because we're gonna make the money.
right,
For him to put out 23 albums in 1 year, it's like because you know you're getting 85% off everything, so you got to get it while it's hot. Like at that time, where because you know everybody going it's gonna go away. The
right,
first contract is really like if you get a good contract, you're not guaranteed to get another break when the second go around. You know,
right,
so
right.
him flooding the market like that, they say he sold 23 albums and they sold 15 million out of those 23 albums, which made like over 160 million dollars just in that 1 year. I know they felt so stupid. They like, oh man, they probably was trying to stop him from releasing albums and everything.
Well, they actually were. So yeah, they were. You know, Big Boss tells a story about how they went in the offices, and then P said they was like, oh, they was telling P, you can't put out these many albums, and they was telling P, and P was like, y'all think because y'all white y'all right? He said, I run this. He said, this is my record label. I could put out what I want to put out when I want to put out. And Boss said that was the most gangster shit he ever seen in his life. He said they got outside, he gave him a big hug. But let me back up a little bit
Yeah.
though. Let me back up. So the priority deal, let's go back. This is kind of like the end of the Bay Area part, right? Uh, so EA Ski, and
So
so he's the one who kind of told P about priority, right? But P had talked to P was already hunting, right? EA Ski knew he was hunting because they had been working together, right? P like I'm trying to get a big deal, right? If you my homie, we working together, we doing music. Yo, free man, I'm trying to get a deal. You know what's happening in these streets? Like we done worked on music together, we done did projects together. You like, yeah, duh, man. Up the street records. They looking for some new people to come in, but you got to go give them a demo or something. Thanks for the heads up, homie. That's kind of how it worked out, right? But P had been hunting, so P did his research. He went to Michael Jackson's lawyer, right? This is crazy. Spent $25,000 and he said he basically the gist of the conversation is uh, how do I get a good deal in the record industry? And he's like, well, he said, well, what does Michael Jackson deal look like? He said, well, Michael Jackson was getting 22% or like 18 to 22%. He said, if Michael Jackson getting that, and this man got Neverland, he was like, what else is there? He was like, the attorney told P, you can get a distribution deal, but you need $200,000 for marketing. P like, I gave you $25,000 for you to tell me I need $200,000 more just to get the 85/20 deal. So anyway, P he understood that. Linked with EA Ski about the priority situation. So when he goes to priority, he already knows now. He knows what he's asking for, right?
uh
I want a distribution deal. Don't give me the Michael Jackson deal. Don't give me the Death Row deals. I want 85%. And so I know that probably threw him off. And so I seen an interview with my man Rico, who's actually from the Bay Area. Rico from Sons of Funk. He was on
uh
Beehive Atlanta, right? ATL Beehive. So
Yeah,
he's
I saw that.
Priority actually gave Peter 200,000, right? But that's little money compared to you paying somebody else a million, 2 million. And P already knew what he had to do, but he had the deal set. So the first album they released with the priority deal was what? TRU True with the Bout It song on there. That album did 500,000 copies the first year, I guess. It went gold. So 500,000 times 85%. You do the math. I don't know. I'm not that good at math, but you probably talking a couple billion, right?
Yeah. See.
And so he made that off the jump. So he paid them back they 200,000 quick. That's one album. That's the first one they did. Y'all take y'all 200,000 back. I still got millions. From
Right.
that point on, it was a wrap. Like the tank could not be stopped.
Yeah. Because I know he released the I'm About It soundtrack and True.
Soundtrack.
That was like back to back. Like I think I'm About It soundtrack came out first, and then the
The True
True.
album.
He actually had JT the Bigger Figure was on I'm About It soundtrack,
See,
along with my what's his name, Brother Lynch. I used to love Brother
Lynch.
Lynch back then
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, like yeah. So he still was showing love to the Bay, even at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
man. But
this is what I wanted to add too about just the money situation in music, right? This is what a lot of people don't know. Who just fans, right? So if you have a hit record, the way the money works as far as your copyrights go and your publishing rights, you don't get paid until 9 months later. And then after that, it's every 3 months or every 4 months or something like that. It's quarterly. And
yeah,
so, Silk did a song. I can't remember. I think it's called Fast Money or something like that. He did a video for it. It's like 2010ish. But he basically says, our grandfather died. We were still on the block. P did I'm About It. And we still was on the block hustling because we wasn't sure when the checks was coming in. So even after they did I'm About It and they did the movie and the soundtrack and they did the True album, the TRU True album in 95 or 95 96, they really didn't P really didn't probably get paid until after the release of the Ice Cream Man album. And so when you think about it like that, it's like you imagine you put out a hit record, right, Freeman, and you got you can look online and you can be like you can look at the charts and you're like, man, I'm selling out everything. I just did 1,000,000 copies. I done did 500,000 copies, but you still living in an apartment building in Richmond because your check ain't came yet. You like you sweating. You like I gotta pay priority back 200,000, right? Just think about you got a son, you got a wife. Y'all probably still living in the back of the record store or whatever. You know what I mean? And imagine the stress. We can talk about the glitz and the glamour. Imagine the stress this man went through. You feel me? Until the check
yeah.
actually hit. And then the check come, he like, damn, I can pay everybody back, put some money in my pocket, take moms out the hood, give Boz his cut because
Mhm.
Boz was really an investor in P in No Limit, right? I got to pay Boz back his money. You see what Boz said in the interview? Boz was like, when I first got the check, he said, is this real? Am I gonna go to jail? P like, nah, you ain't gonna go to jail. So
Yeah,
the of the world as far as like your responsibilities as a man, a black man in America, and you trying to do the right thing, and you have been hustling and failing up to the standards of society as far as your music in the early part of it, right? Because
mhm.
the first couple albums, the Mama's Bad Boys, the Getaway Clean, the first Mia X album, them not hit records, So you struggling, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Right.
check came from after um that About It album, that About It, the soundtrack and the True album. Boy, you can imagine how life changed.
Yeah,
We
man.
moved.
And I actually saw an interview. Yeah, I saw an interview. Just a group in New Orleans called Partners in Crime, and
Yeah.
one of them, his name Misdemeanor. They were actually on the About It soundtrack, and the guy Misdemeanor, he talks about after they didn't get paid for the song at the time because of exactly what you're talking about. Now that you said, I understand what he was saying. He didn't understand at the time. He just know, oh man, P, he doing this, he's selling all this. He's supposed to give us. I think it was like 10,000 or 9,500 or something like that. And so he's showing up to the clubs, and he want to fight P and all this, and they end up getting having words or whatever. I think somebody pulled him to the side, and then they sat down and talked, and Pete kind of explained to him what it was, and he said he still couldn't understand it because all he see is the success. But he
Right.
say they eventually end up getting it, but it's exactly what you just described.
Well, the only reason I know that is because I started my own record label, and so
Hmm.
when you go to these copyright companies and you actually read what's happening as far as the distribution and the royalties, you think about it, you're like, man, if I release an album now in January, even if it sells, I'm not gonna get paid till September. You feel me? And then after that, it's it's quarterly. And so you can imagine if your album not really booming like that, or your song not booming like that, those checks gonna go from 500,000 to 75,000 to 25,000 to $1,800 to 25 cents.
And yeah, and just imagine the stuff that's being purchased in between, or stuff that's given to you in advance, the cars, the houses, the stuff before you even make or even touch your money physically. It's just like when they in college and stuff. You had what they call them, forgot what they call, but the people that come and offer them money so they can pay them in the future type stuff, like.
Yeah, you get
So
the
you can
student
spend all
loan,
your money before you get it.
right? You get the credit cards, the student loans, and all that, and you feel like you're doing something, and you are doing something. So, like a great example you just said. So if I see you and you got this loan money basically, right, and you balling, $500,000, I'm laughing because like you buy a Benz, right? But the Benz is not. It's for you, but it's not for you. It's for your company. You're gonna put it in the music videos. You're gonna ride around to go different meetings and stuff. So it's really a tax write off. But I don't know that about you and your business. I just know you got a Benz and I want one. And I did some music for you and you ain't paid me my money. But you got a Benz. So I can't understand that. You feel me? So
Right.
now I'm jealous. I'm envious because I don't understand the business side of things. And it's not your fault. It's my fault for not asking and inquiring. And sit, like you said, partners in crime and whoever, they sat down later, pull you to the side, cuz this is not how this works, right? I got this money, I gotta do this, this, and this with it. When the money from what you produced comes to me, I'll give it to you. The money, the work that you did, that you produced, the money hasn't got to me yet. I can't pay you for what you produce. Not yet. It'll come later. And when I get it, I'll give it to you. But people get in trouble when they do the advances, right? So if I give you the money
Mhm.
up front, you gotta do it smart. If I give you the money up front, this is all you getting, right? I don't want you to keep coming back to me, trying to nickel and dime me. If I give you $1,500 now, that's for the song, that's for the copyrights, that's for everything. Whatever come later, I might not even make 1,500 back. That's why P lost a lot of money too on artists,
Mhm.
right? Because it's just
Yep.
like if I give you $100,000, or I buy you a house for back then, let's just say I buy you a house for 200,000. You got the house. Is your record gonna bring me back 200,000? If your record only bring me back 100,000, I lost $100,000, and you got a whole house. But I'm not gonna see that again. But people don't understand
Yep.
the business side of it. My
Yeah.
degree right here on the wall. That's the same school Master P went to, Merritt College in Oakland. The same school I went to for my real estate.
Okay.
You talk about business, and you got to be in it, right? Like right now, I'm about to graduate in May with a bachelor's in business management with a concentration in real estate. I understood. I'm a homeowner. I understand like equity and what a home can do for you, but I needed to understand the actual business industry side of real estate. I know the hustle side, but I need to understand the business side. So I had to educate myself. People in music, they see they can rap. That's beautiful. They can entertain. That's great. But can you lock down a good business deal in a corporate office, or can you negotiate? Do you have those skills? Do you understand that you're not gonna get paid until 9 months from now, no matter how hard you work right now today? If you don't understand that going in, you're gonna be upset at somebody.
Yeah. Wow. And I can imagine the frustration of so many artists who didn't know that going in over time. Like, just imagine, like in the '90s, 2000s, man, these people probably on a quit rapping and everything. Cause some people put so much into it and make so many bad decisions probably after getting there in advance. Or man, that you gotta take the least money, the least amount of money possible,
Right.
and know what you want to like P did. Like, you gotta know what you gonna do with this money to make it make more money. Cause you gotta pay it back no matter if your record sell or not.
Exactly. Exactly. Man,
Yeah.
he was that dude, man. He's still that dude.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got when you got that mind, like, and you're a visionary, like bigger than just being a rapper. Just to
Yeah.
put out had the to say I'm gonna put out all these albums in 1 year and to sacrifice basically his longevity as far as musically to be smart enough to get it done. Like he always say, you got to get in and get out. Just like the dope game, that's how he treated it. Like, I'm gonna hit this big lick now, because when you look at it, like, and what everybody go through in the music game, all of them regret it in the end, basically. Or most of them, where the torture and torment and the sacrifices they had to make don't add up to what. And it's just like you had a moment in time that you were great. Like, some of them don't have the money anymore. Like, people
So
gonna forget about you tomorrow anyway if you fall off.
what did you do
So
with your opportunity? That's why I love Crazy, man. Crazy be like to the ungrateful artist that's bitter towards P. Crazy, like the man gave you an opportunity. What did you do with the opportunity? He's
yeah,
like, you was on TV. He probably put you in movies. He done put you on multiple records and albums. What did you do with the opportunity? Even if he only paid you a little bit of money, right? Let's just say he gave you some crumbs. Those crumbs and that opportunity still, you could have snowballed that into something else bigger, but you didn't. But now you mad at the man 20 years later. How could you be mad at him? How could you say that he wants the spotlight on himself when, you know, he put you on, right? He could, what he said in interviews about 10 years ago, he said, I could just sit in my mansion and not care about nothing and chill, but I still go out and give the community. I still do these
hmm
lectures and speeches. I still do tours. He don't have to do the No Limit reunion tour right now. He don't have to. But guess
nope,
what? Some other artists might need it. I don't know about Mr. Servo personal life, but I bet you he could use some tour money. I don't know about
yeah,
Mac just getting out of jail, but I bet he could use some tour money. And no disrespect,
definitely,
no disrespect to any. I'm a No Limit fan. Y'all know what I did. No Limit album reviews. Y'all can check my stuff on YouTube. Y'all, I'm legit. I'm the one of the number one fans. But I'm gonna tell you like this: if P not the face of the No Limit album reunion tour, ain't nobody coming through the doors.
nope,
That's just facts. That's one reason why True Records. No, I love my people who still hold it down for True. We represent Free C Murder. It's on all my bios, on my Facebook, on my Instagram. The first thing you see on my bio is Free C Murder. But True Records is not going to be True Records again until C Murder come home. You feel me?
exactly.
And so it's just like, yeah. I know I went on a tangent, my bad, bro, but I get so
Yeah.
passionate
Oh,
about
it's
this.
all good.
I know you talking about the records in 1998, 23 albums. Uh, and it was unheard of back then. And P's always been ahead of his time. He did the first double album. People think it was Tupac, but it really was P when he did the Down South Hustlers. Right, we talked about that. That was a
hmm
double album. That was the first hip hop double album. It wasn't Tupac All Eyes on Me. Tupac was the first single, the first individual double album. But P is the first one in hip hop. Period. No limit. So let's put some
Yeah,
respect on that. You feel me? Let's put some respect on him dropping 23 albums in 1 year. You feel me? And that's what I tell my. That's what I was trying to tell my nephews who was wanting to rap. Like, yo, y'all should be putting out music all the time. You feel me? If you can release this amount of, and just because of how the pay work, if you go back to the business side of it, if you release all these albums, when that money come, it's gonna keep coming. Every quarter,
Uh-huh.
boom, boom, boom. Oh, me and X, boom, boom. Okay, Servo, boom. Okay, Kane and Abel, boom. Snoop Dogg, boom. Compilation, boom. Whatever. Silk, boom. My album, boom. Every day you're getting checks. Like
Yeah.
every quarter you're getting checks. You feel me? So it's not gonna stop. Well, it's gonna stop, but that next year is not gonna stop. I'm saying when they roll over, boom, and then you can just pay your people and work on the next stuff. Invest some of the
Yeah.
money, hopefully. You know what I'm saying? But '98 was a crazy year. How didn't he go play basketball in '98 too, or try to?
Um, I believe that was 99.
Okay,
99 is when he got into the basketball, and because once you do, you can't do more than 98. And
how did he
even
sleep?
with crazy say he don't sleep. He just take cat naps all day. When he had called him when I did my interview with Crazy, he was calling P. He put me on the phone with him,
That's what's up.
but he said he was taking a cat nap then. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. But I want to go back to the um the rappers that being ungrateful.
Yeah,
As far as like, I never really heard of somebody getting their house or their car repossessed, like the ones that he paid for.
yeah,
Like, so if P did it with 10,000 or however much he had to become what he became.
right.
If you make 100,000 off this house, or you got a car you can sell,
Come
what did
on,
you
man.
do with that money to invest in yourself to become who you should be? Like, to
Right.
feel great about yourself, because you're not gonna get to P level. Like, there's people that can or will, but overall, like in general, like especially on No Limit, none of you are gonna reach his level. So you have to be happy within yourself and your own career and decisions. Because I never heard him holding nobody back either. Like, if you wanted to leave, he let you leave or whatever. Like he always say, it's been 20 years. What you did, what have you done in between then and now? Like,
You still
you
mad?
know, you mad and but you still gonna go on tour. I'm mad, but I'm gonna go on this tour. Forget that. He could
Right,
say he stay at home if he was that bad of a person. Nah, man, he
right,
been talking stuff about me for 12 years,
right,
15 years now.
right.
But
It's
yeah,
crazy.
so.
P
But
definitely.
99 was that basketball year
Okay.
when
Yeah.
the focus became like, because I hear me and X and certain people talk about it, like the focus wasn't on the music, like you were saying, without P being the face of certain things. And that probably was with that too, with him not being the structure. Because, that's what he was all about, the structure of everything. And sacrificed his whole life to be who he had to be for No Limit, to be what they were. So when you go play basketball, the other people at the label, they looking at it like now it's other people they got say so, and they looking at it. I mean, they running the company different. And you can tell by the even though I was like one of the biggest No Limit, I say one of the biggest No Limit fans since I met you. I used to say I was the biggest, but like just when I think about the music going into '99, it was a difference because I think probably with all the money that was being made in '98, '99, it probably like people want more money probably. They see P, oh, you on the Forbes list, you got this and that. So whenever the sound kind of changed, when KLC and all of them when they started leaving.
Right, right,
I can't pinpoint the exact album, but you can tell the difference. Even though they were still hot and still doing their thing, like the second True album and not the second True. Yeah, it was not
you talking
the
about the
True that
Crime
came
Family
after
album?
True to the Game. The Crime
Yeah,
Family,
Crime
yeah, you could
Family.
tell the music was, as far as the
Yeah,
sound was changing a little bit. Even though they were still remaking the old songs and stuff like that, and
right.
probably had certain verses and beats from people who were gone, but they still on that album and stuff.
So one thing I noticed about '99, to your point, is Fiend album, Street Life. I love that album. Fiend, both of his albums with No Limit was fire. I don't care what nobody said, they both fire. Everybody loves the first one in '98. There's One in Every Family. I think I like Street Life better. But anyway, uh,
The first one was. I think people like the first one better because it was more of a original No Limit album with all the features and feature on every song. The second one was
it was just
more of a
Fiend.
solo album.
That's my
Yeah,
point. That's my
yeah,
point right there. That was my point. That album was just basically Fiend, right? It had a couple of features on there, but that was a Fiend album. It still was dope, right? But it didn't get the
uh
same amount of attention. And so you think about not just Fiend, but the other artists after No Limit. They've done music, they've done albums, but it ain't really been the same. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and
I
so
think one thing. I think Fiend was gone. Another thing with Fiend now, I think he was gone when his album came out.
he probably
He had
was.
the video with Magic, but as I recall and how I felt about it, like, cause back then, like being the biggest No Limit fans, and then like me being from Louisiana too, and the cast, cause I put most people in Chicago, I mean, a lot of people in Chicago on No Limit,
Hmm.
and as well as Cash Money, because I was like every summer when I go down there, I'm bringing back music that's not out up here. I mean, in Chicago yet, so it was like I know you have a feeling like, man, something is different, something is wrong. I support it to the fullest. I love fame, but something is not all the way right
Right.
because of when you see everybody, the camaraderie all together as a tank, then you have a solo album with not too many features, and it don't seem like you around anymore. And the albums that came out even around that, I think like the True album and certain albums, like certain people weren't on there like that anymore, like Fame.
Right.
He was
Yeah.
on some songs, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you have to be when the company and a business is transitioning. Um, for some people like yourself, since you in that world, you'll notice it. You know what I mean? And then you from down there, and so you actually when you visit, you'll actually see it. You'll feel it in the community, right? Like if you ain't been around the tank, man, what's happening? You feel me? Um, and then from the business side of it, you gotta be um, you gotta be strategic and really how you maneuver because how you go from how the company goes from okay, it's all these artists, and now it's 30 artists. Now it's only 8. You know what I mean? So how do we release this music still? How do we still promote without really talking bad about the people who left, right? Because they talking about us. But how do
Mhm.
so he's like, don't beef, don't say nothing bad about nobody. Matter of fact, won't you bring me back my tank then? I know you
Right.
scared. Just mail it to me. Shout out to Ghetto
If you
Poster
real,
Child.
keep it real. If you fake, then you funny.
Man, shout out to Ghetto Poster Child. Uh, but
Hmm.
anyway, um, it's it had to be hard for him, especially because he was doing his basketball thing, like you said, in '99. And so, yeah, man, it was crazy.
Yeah, that's how it is sometimes, man. You get it all at once, or you have a little stretch, Where, but I don't think Pete never wanted to be in it for like because by the time learning the game in the Bay Area and then getting the opportunity to really make the big money, because he put in so much probably hard work in the Bay coming into back to New Orleans, before then, where he like I'm gonna get it in, get out, and that's it for me.
Yeah, because he
Other
really
than
wanted to play
have him,
basketball.
yeah, he did. Then you have
Yeah,
to like when you're getting older, you have to be like, okay, if I don't do this now, I'll never get the opportunity to even try to do this again.
right. And so he took a chance. He bet on himself like he always do. He went up to Canada, played ball for a little bit before he even got his shot with Charlotte. He had to go play in the ABA and the CBA and all these other leagues, and then he
Uh-huh.
ended up getting the opportunity with Charlotte. And then when that didn't work out, he went up to Toronto. You know what I mean? But yeah, that that basketball thing was I don't really remember it live back in '98 because I was still in elementary school. But what I do remember is watching the old videos now, it's like he was out there, man. He was from the clips. You know, he had his couple shots he was doing, but I think you just couldn't have a rapper a successful business mogul on a basketball team. Like even if he was better than what he was, like just still like I don't think it would have worked out. They was hating on the
Right.
man, not the players, the organizations, the owners and the general managers, right? They're like,
Yeah.
we can't have this dude making just as much money as we making, right? As the owners, right? So he probably going to come in here with his ego. Even though P really wanted to just ball, that's his first love. But you
Yeah.
got to imagine if I'm making, you know, let's just call it 20 mil a year, and then y'all gonna give me a rookie deal for let's just call it a couple mil. I make more money than that doing this independent film, right?
Yep.
But
He probably was gonna make about $300,000 a year or something like that.
Right, starting out, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I don't
And
want
then
this
just
dude.
imagine the players. Just imagine the players too. Like some players probably like respected him, but I'm pretty sure a lot of players like hated on him too because they can look at it like, oh, he didn't work as hard as we work. He's only in here because of his name and who he is. It's just like rappers who try to act or actors rap and it's something with T.I. and Godfrey. I saw T.I. doing stand-up comedy now, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
you know, so the comedians they mad at T.I. like, oh man, you ain't, you know,
That's
you
why they got to check
stepping
that
into
out.
our lane. But I think boy messed it up. I'm living my best life. He started making music, so they probably like, oh yeah, we can do
Lil Duval, yeah.
what's that? Lil Duval. So they probably
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
we can do comedy then. And him and Lil Duval too. He probably didn't start doing comedy hanging around Lil Duval.
Right. That's
Yeah.
funny. That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but you're right.
Live free and be happy, baby.
This your boy Crazy Alias Doc Holiday, 504 boy, thugged out with my homie.
Man.
Y'all know how we do it, man. Salute, number soldiers worldwide.
No, it ain't no limit. 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 Ain't no limit to my hustle. No limit to my muscle. I've been grinding. Gotta make it out the struggle. No, it ain't no limit. 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 Ain't no limit to my work. No limit to my shine. I've been grinding. I got money on my mind. Lfbh, live free, be happy. Lfbh, Lfbh, live free, be happy. Lfbh, Lfbh, live free, be happy. Lfbh, Lfbh, live free, be happy.